Alrighty, folks, it is Friday, June 9th, 2023, and I'm feeling great on a Friday morning because I'm now 5-0 in my last 5 extra daily bets on my website. And the good news is I have another extra daily bet going off here today. And if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, I'm also going to throw in my daily best play for you for the next 30 days, absolutely free. It's going to be included with your purchase of the extra daily bet. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free action, some free content. Our first match is in the Diamondbacks Tigers game. 6:40 Eastern start time. Arizona's minus 145, totals 8 runs. Merrill Kelly for the D-backs, Michael Lorenzen for Detroit. And even though Lorenzen's had a solid season, the Tigers just don't want to win for the guy. He comes into today's start with just 2 wins through 53 innings of work. These Tiger batters also can't hit for shit. They're dead last in run production per game. They're facing Merrill Kelly, who's 7-3 with an ERA in the 2s. The righty's also got 77 strikeouts along with a 1.08 whip. Now, he's also backed by a lineup who's in the top 5 in team batting average at the dish. Ketel Marte leads the roster in hits. Christian Walker leads the franchise in homers and RBI. Kyle Lewis is still out for the D-backs. Lourdes Gurriel is questionable. Meanwhile, Vierling Green and Carpenter are still out for the Tigers. Detroit 63% to the over in their interleague ball games. Arizona 61% to the over in their road trips. Give me Arizona minus 145, over 8. Next matchup, Rangers-Rays, 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Tampa Bay's minus $170, totals 8 runs. Tyler Glasnow for Tampa Bay, Andrew Heaney for Texas. Now, Heaney's got a handful of wins on the season with a 1.26 whip. The Rangers are also the highest scoring team in the big leagues. Adolis Garcia's got the second most RBI in the majors right now. Marcus Semion's the team leader in hits. They're facing Tyler Glasnow, who has just 9+ innings of work under his belt. And during that short span, he currently has a lackluster 1.34 whip. Now, this Rays pitching staff's also in the bottom 10 in the league in strikeouts per 9 on the mound. Yandy Diaz is questionable for the Rays. Brandon Lau's still out. When it comes to the total, the Rays are 63% to the over at the Trop versus American League opponents. Now, Texas on the other side, they are 8-3 to the over in their Andrew Heaney starts. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5, over 8. Next ball game, little AL East action. Red Sox Yankees. 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are minus 165, totals 8 runs. Garrett Cole for New York, Garrett Whitlock for Boston. Now, Whitlock's got just 2 wins on the season with an ERA of 5.61. Now, the Bo Sox have also struggled with divisional rivals. They've taken the loss in 6 out of their last 7 road games against the AL East this year. They're facing one of the best pitchers in the game in Garrett Cole. He's a perfect 7-0 with an ERA in the 2s. The Yanks are also 10 games above 500 right now. They've got a top 10 run-producing lineup. Anthony Rizzo's the team leader in hits. Gleyber Torres has double-digit homers on the season. When it comes to the total, the Yankees saw the under cash 20 times in the Bronx this year. They're also 8-5 to the under in their last 13 Garrett Cole starts. Give me the Yankees minus 165. Under 8. Next matchup, it is going to be Royals at the Orioles, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Baltimore's minus 185, totals 8. Tyler Wells for Baltimore, Daniel Lynch for Kansas City. Now, Lynch is he's winless on the season with a 1.45 whip. The Royals have also the second worst record in all of baseball. They're going up against Tyler Wells on the mound for Baltimore. And I tell you what, he's been really good. He's got an ERA in the low 3s along with a .85 whip. He's also backed by a top 5 run-producing lineup in the American League. Austin Hayes is hitting a team-high .302 at the plate. Meanwhile, Adley Rutschman's the club leader in hits. Now, Cedric Mullins is still banged up right now. He is out for Baltimore. Meanwhile, Kyle Isabel on the other side, he's injured for KC. 6 out of Kansas City's last 10 meetings with Baltimore did get over the number. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Baltimore saw 3 out of their last 4. Tyler Wells starts, get over. Give me Baltimore -185, over 8. Next game, Dodgers, Phillies, 7:05 East. Philadelphia's -120, totals 9.5. Ranger Suarez for the Fightins, Michael Grove for Los Angeles. And even though Grove stunk this year, the Dodgers have very little issue scoring runs on the road. They're a top 3 run-producing team away from home. Freddie Freeman's got the second highest batting average in the majors. He's also 3rd in OPS. Meanwhile, Max Muncy is amongst the league leaders himself with 18 homers and 44 RBI. Now they're taking on Ranger Suarez, who's got just 1 win on the year for Philly with an ERA in the 5s. When it comes to offensive production, the Phils are a bottom 10 run-producing team. Alec Boehm's still out for Philadelphia. Rojas and Barnes are questionable for Los Angeles. When it comes to the total, the Dodgers are 23-10 to the over as the official road team. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Dodgers plus a buck, over 9.5. Next contest, it is going to be Mets-Pirates, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The New York Mets are -1.25 on the road, totals 9. Tyler McGill for the Mets, Rich Hill for Pittsburgh. Now, Hill's got a handful of wins on the season along with 61 strikeouts. And when these guys play at home, they're 11-5 straight up against National League opponents. Brian Reynolds leads the roster in hits and RBI. Jack Sawinski's got the club lead in home runs. They're facing a struggling Mets team who lost their last 6 straight. Tyler McGill also takes the mound with an ERA in the 4s, along with a 1.62 whip. And even more bad news here today, Pete Alonso, he's doubtful to suit up here today. He's battling that wrist injury, got hit by a pitch. I think it was Charlie Morton who hit him. Now, the Mets saw 3 out of their last 4 on the road get over the number. Pittsburgh 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Give me the Buccos plus 105, over 9. Next matchup, Twins, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's -1.25, totals 8.5. Yusei Kikuchi for Toronto, Sonny Gray for Minnesota. And even though Gray's been good, the Twins are on a 5-game losing streak. They actually scored just 6 total runs during that skid. They're taking on a Toronto team who won 8 out of their last 10 themselves. And they're averaging more hits a game than any other club in the AL East. And of course, most of that is thanks to Bo Bichette. He's got the 4th highest batting average in the major leagues. And also Dalton Varsho and George Springer, they've combined for 20 round trippers between the both of them. Now, they also have starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi, who's 6-2 with 60 strikeouts. Kevin Kiermaier is questionable for the Jays. Danny Jansen's still out. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, Gallo, Buxton, and Gordon are still out for them. Jorge Polanco is questionable. 7 out of Twins' last 10 outings did fall under the number. Meanwhile, Toronto's 8-2 to the under in their last 10. Give me the Blue Jays -1.25, under 8.5. Next matchup, Astros, Guardians, 7:10 Eastern start time. Houston's -130, totals 8. Christian Javier for Houston, Logan Allen for Cleveland. And even though Allen's been solid, he's only got 3 wins to show for it. He also saw his whip creep up to a 1.34. That's whip, W-H-I-P, whip. Now, when it comes to offensive production, nobody's worse at home than the Guardians. These guys score a league low 2.9 runs a game in their own stadium. Now, they're going to have to try to hit Christian Javier for the Astros. He's been one of the best in the majors. He's 7-1 with an ERA in the 2s. He's also got 72 strikeouts in just 69 plus, along with a .99 whip. Now, this Houston pitching staff is giving up fewer runs a game than any other club in the majors. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Houston's last 4 on the road fell under the total. They're also 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, Cleveland's gone 21-9 to the under at Progressive Field. Give me Houston -130, under 8. Next contest, it is going to be Nationals at the Braves, 7:20 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's -$2, totals 10. A.J. Smith-Shawver for Atlanta, Josiah Gray for Washington. The Grays got a handful of wins on the year, along with an ERA in the low 3s. And believe it or not, guys, the Nats have had little issue getting base runners on the road. They're averaging 9.3 hits a game in their travels. Joey Meneses, he's hitting .305. He also leads the club in hits. Lane Thomas and Jeimer Candelario, they have nearly 60 RBI between the both of them. They're facing an Atlanta team who has a tough time cashing in on the run line. What I mean by that is this. Out of 32 ball games at Truist Park, the Braves have covered only 10 times. These Atlanta hitters are also fanning nearly double-digit times a game at home. Not great. Not great at all. The Braves are 22-10 at the over in front of their own crowd this year. They're also 13-7 at the over against the NL East. Give me Washington +1.5, over 10. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be the Marlins at the White Sox, 8-10 Windy City. Chicago's -145 at home, totals 8. Dylan Cease for Chicago, Yuri Perez for Miami. Now, Perez has had an excellent couple of starts here for the Fish. He's 3-1 with an ERA in the 2s. The Marlins are also in the top 5 of the National League in road hits per game. Luis Arias is batting an incredible .403 at the plate. He's got the highest batting average in the majors by a long shot. Meanwhile, Jorge Soler's the club leader in RBI and home runs. Now, they're facing Dylan Cease, and he hasn't been great. He's got a .463 ERA and a 1.37 whip. He's also backed by a bottom 10 run producing lineup. Billy Hamilton's out for Chicago. The White Sox saw 4 out of their last 6 interleague home games get over the total. They're also 67% of the over in all of their games against the National League. Give me the Marlins +$1.25, over 8. Next matchup I have for you, it's going to be the A's at the Brewers, 8:10 Eastern start time. Milwaukee's .250, totals 9.5. Adrian Hauser for Milwaukee, Sam Moll for Oakland. Now, Moll's yet to record a win. He's got an ERA of .457. The A's also have the worst record in the major leagues. They're facing Adrian Hauser, who's got an ERA in the 3s, along with just 1 loss on the year. This Milwaukee pitching staff's in the top 10 in fewest runs allowed. Taylor and Winker are still out for Milwaukee. When it comes to the total, the Brewers went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. They're also 67% to the under in their divisional home games. Give me the Brewers -1.5, under 9.5 runs. Next matchup, it is going to be Reds at the Cardinals, 8:15 Eastern showdown. St. Louis is -185 in this divisional ballgame, totals 8 runs. Jordan Montgomery for the Cards, Ben Lively for Cincinnati. Now, Lively's looked real good this year. He's got a .303 ERA and a 1.01 whip. The Reds are also averaging nearly double-digit hits a game on the road. Johnny India leads the roster in hits. Ellie De La Cruz is 4 for 11 through a couple of ball games. They're facing a struggling St. Louis team who lost 7 out of their last 9 themselves. And they've had all kinds of problems at the plate. Now, pitching-wise, well, that's another story. This Cards pitching staff allows more hits per game than any other team in the National League. They also have Jordan Montgomery on the bump, who's 2-7 on the season. I don't think the Yankees are kicking themselves by dishing him last year. O'Neill, Carson, and Nootbaar out for the Cards. Friedel, Myers out for Cincy. The Reds are 16-12 to the over as the road team. The Cards are 17-12 to the over at Busch Stadium. Give me Cincy plus 1.5, over 8. Next contest, Pods, Rockies, 8:40 Eastern first pitch. San Diego's minus 195 on the road, totals 11.5. Yu Darvish for San Diego, Austin Gomer for Colorado. And even though Gomer hasn't been great, he does have himself a handful of wins on the season. Certainly having a good time getting wins. He's got a handful of them. He's also backed by a top 3 hit-producing lineup at home. Elias Diaz has the highest qualifying batting average in the lineup. Ryan McMahon also leads the roster in hits. They're facing Yu Darvish on the mound for San Diego, and he's been okay, but definitely not stellar. He's got a handful of losses, along with an ERA in the 4s. Now, Darvish is also backed by the worst hitting lineup in baseball. The Pods average a league-low 6.7 hits a game on the road. Xander Bogaerts is questionable for San Diego. Crone and Bryant still out for the Rockies. Now, 6 out of Colorado's last 10 meetings with San Diego did get over the total. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Now, Colorado's 3-1 to the over in their last 4 Austin Gomer starts. Give me the Rockies plus 1.5, over 11.5 runs. Next game, Mariners, Angels, 9:38 East. The LA Angels is minus 135, total 7.5. Shohei Ohtani for Los Angeles, Luis Castillo for Seattle. And even though Castillo's been great, the Mariners still have a losing record on the season. They play their worst baseball on the road as well. When it comes to offensive production, these guys are striking out 10.2 times a game on the road. That's nearly a league worst. They're facing Shohei Ohtani, who's 5-2 on the bump with a 1.01 whip. The righties also got 96 strikeouts in just 71 innings. And even if Shohei has a rough go of things, the Angels are a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Gio Urshela is batting .304 at the plate. Mike Trout's got 14 homers and 35 ribbies. 8 out of the Angels' last 10 meetings with Seattle did get over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their divisional ball games. Now, Seattle went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Angels minus 135, over 7.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that Cubs-Giants game, 10:15 Eastern first pitch. San Francisco's minus 120, total 7.5. Anthony DeSclafani for San Francisco, Marcus Stroman for Chicago. Now, Stroman's got 6 wins on the season with an ERA in the 2s. The Chicago pitchers allow just 7.9 hits a game while traveling. They're facing a Giants team who strikes out more times a game than any other lineup in the National League. They're also a bottom 10 run-producing lineup in their own stadium. Bellinger and Rios are still out for Chicago. When it comes to the number, 6 out of Chicago's last 7 road games did fall under the number. They're also 9-1 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Chicago Cubs plus $1, under 7.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like the Arizona Diamondbacks minus 145, over 8. Texas Rangers plus 1.5, over 8 runs. New York Yankees minus 165, under 8. I'm 5-0 in my last 5 extra daily bets on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And the good news is I have another extra daily bet going off here today. Give me Baltimore minus 185, over 8. LA Dodgers plus $1, over 9.5. Pittsburgh plus 105, over 9. Toronto Blue Jays minus $1.25, under 8.5. Houston Astros minus 130, under 8. Washington Nationals plus 1.5, over 10. Miami Marlins plus $1.25, over 8. Milwaukee minus 1.5, under 9.5. Cincinnati plus 1.5 over 8 runs. Colorado plus 1.5 over 11 and a hook. LA Angels minus 135 over 7.5. With my next and final pick for the video, give me the Cubbies plus $1 under 7.5. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a package here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that chairman package that I have, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. You get access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my podcast every single day, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube or TikTok. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.